First thing you'll need to do when preparing your body is to mark where all your cuts are going to be. My fretboard is going to cut into the body of the guitar, so I'm marking where that will end. To avoid this step, you can cut your guitar neck so that the fretboard butts right up against the guitar body instead of cutting into it. Next thing I'm going to do is measure the width of the box, divide that by 2, and mark the center line. This will ensure that your neck is perfectly centered on the box. From there, I measure the width of the neck, divide that by 2, and mark that distance on either side of my center line. So together those two halves equal the full width of the neck. I'm going to transfer those marks to the full length that I'm going to need to cut, and then transfer them again to the side of the box where the neck will be inserted. Then I'm going to measure the depth of my neck and transfer that to the side where the neck will insert into the guitar body. And because my neck is rounded where it's going to be inserted, I'm going to transfer that shape within the lines that I've drawn on the body. Next, we're going to mark out the sound holes. The simplest way to do this is to just take a drill bit and drill 2 holes the size you desire. But if you want to do something a little more fancy, you can either draw or print off a design that you like, and you can tape it on your guitar body like I'm doing here. Make sure to use masking tape so that when you remove the template, it doesn't damage the design on the box. Once I have it secured, I'm going to cut out the design that I want. This will cut through the paper and scribe a line directly onto the box lid that I can see and cut out later. Next, we're going to mark and drill out holes for the electronics that are going to go into the guitar. You can place these anywhere you want on the box. I'm going to put mine on the bottom of the guitar here. I place them roughly where I want them in the box and then measure that distance. Then I'm going to transfer a small mark that distance on the outside where I'm going to be drilling. Next, I measure the depth of the box and make a mark half that distance. After doing this, you should have a small X on your box where you can center your drill bit. Then select a drill bit that's closest to the size of the component that you're going to be putting in the box, the volume knob and the input jack. There'll be 2 different sizes, so make sure to measure both of them. Then center your drill bit on the X and drill through the box. Do a test fit with your components. My holes were a little too small, so I'm just going back with the drill bit and wiggling it around in circles. This widens it just slightly so that I can get the input jack in. And voila, they both fit. You can remove them and set them aside for later when you go to install them. Now I'm going to go cut out the design on the top of the lid. My design has 2 circular holes on either end of the design. So I'm just taking a drill bit that's the same size and making those circles with that. Even if you don't have a circle on your design, you'll still need to drill a hole so that you can insert the blade for the coping saw that you'll see later in the video. I'm also drilling 2 small holes at the corners of the rectangle that I marked out for my fretboard. This will help when I go to cut it out later. The saw that I've got here is a coping saw. You just unscrew the handle, pop the blade out, fish it through the hole, and then screw it back in. Make sure it's tight so that it doesn't wobble around as you saw. Then you're just going to follow your lines and cut out the design that you marked earlier. Once you're finished, just unscrew the handle again, pop out the blade, and there you go. Now if you notice, even though I used a fine-tooth blade, I still have some rough edges around the hole. I'm just going to take a small strip of sandpaper that I cut, put it through the hole, and sand those rough edges off. The more intricate the design is, the smaller your sandpaper will have to be to get into those small edges. Now I'm going back and cutting out the rectangle so that I can fit my fretboard into the body. Now I need to cut across the bottom of the rectangle, but the saw is in the way. This is no problem. I can just turn the tab in the front and the handle so that the blade turns perpendicular to the saw support. And again, I'm going to turn it so that I can go up. Now I'm going back with a file to make sure the edges are flat so I have a snug fit with my fretboard. And the last thing I need to cut out is the hole for the neck to slip into at the top of the body. Again, I'm just going to take my coping saw and cut out along the lines that I marked earlier. It's making sure to stay on the inside of the lines. I place my neck against my cutout, see where I need to fine tune the edges, and take a small round file to adjust those until I have a perfect fit. Then just pop your neck in, make sure that everything fits correctly. If it doesn't, you can go back with sandpaper or file to fine tune it until you get the fit that you want. That's it, you're ready to put in your electronics.